Hi, Tony DeWitt here, Missouri appellate attorney and a guy who likes to make the law make sense on YouTube. Today we're going to talk about when it's time to seek help. I'll have more on that in just a second. One of the things that I frequently see on Quora, and in fact get questions here on my YouTube channel about, is how do I do X? Is how do I file a motion to dismiss? How do I file a motion to suppress evidence in my criminal case? And the answer to that is you let your lawyer do it. Now I know that you have an absolute right to represent yourself in court, and you do. I'm not suggesting you don't. I'm suggesting you're stupid if you do represent yourself in court. And the reason I say that is really because you do not have either the background or the training or the objectivity to represent yourself well. The reason for that is because if you know what happened, if you were actively involved in a situation, for example, you bought a refrigerator and it didn't work, and you tried to take it back to the store and they wouldn't take it back, and now you've got this thing where you're out $900 for a refrigerator and you can't get any refunds so you can go get one that works. I understand that's a really maddening situation, and if you have a small claims court, that's the place to take it because you don't have to know procedure, you don't have to know evidence, you don't have to get certified business records to bring things into court. That's the place where you absolutely can and should represent yourself because it makes sense to do that, right? But it doesn't make sense to do that if you are somebody who likes to smoke the devil's lettuce and you've got a bag of it in the back seat when the cop pulls you over and he smells it and he finds it and he arrests you, and you're going to file a motion to suppress that evidence. Well, about 99% of the motions to suppress evidence in state and federal court are denied. And the reason they're denied is because the search and seizure laws in the Fourth Amendment have really been downgraded recently. And there really seems to be very little check on police powers in terms of searching your vehicle where there is reasonable suspicion. And of course, if you roll down the window and the cop smells marijuana in your car, he has reasonable suspicion to search the car. He doesn't have to ask you for permission. He simply asks you to get out, and he searches your vehicle, and if he finds it, you're probably going to go to jail, unless you're in one of those jurisdictions where it's an infraction and you get a ticket. The fact is, knowing when and under what circumstances it is wise to file a motion to dismiss is as important as the technical method of how you file a motion to dismiss. Because you don't want to annoy the judge with multiple motions that have no chance of success. Because all that's going to do is delay things, and it's going to make the judge think that you're a bit of a troublemaker. Now, do you have an absolute right to do that? Sure, you absolutely have the right to do that. But there is a big difference between having the right to do something and it being the right thing to do. Because, I have the right on my own property to walk around naked if I want to with the windows open, but it's not particularly bright. I'm sure it would cause numerous people to lose their lunch out there. The fact of the matter is, you have to know enough about the system to know how to make things work. It's the same thing with questions like, how do I get a document admitted into evidence? Well, there could be multiple ways to get a document admitted into evidence in a particular case, and it's impossible for a lawyer to answer that question in the abstract. because A, we don't know what the document is, and B, we don't know what kind of case it is. Is it criminal or civil? We don't know any of that, and documents tend to be hearsay. They tend to be things that were created, and they are not they're not testimony under oath by someone who actually saw or witnessed events. They are a recording of something that happened. So they're hearsay, but they can still be admitted under certain hearsay exceptions. And we have to know which ones of those hearsay exceptions come into play. There are at least 26 different hearsay exceptions. And so knowing which hearsay exemptions might apply is very important. And if you don't have that kind of training, then it's probably not a good idea to try and admit evidence in either a criminal or a civil trial if you don't know what you're doing. Again, all you'll get is a denied or an overruled, and you won't be able to tell your story, and you won't be able to get the information that you need to get in front of the trier of fact. So that's the reason why you need an attorney. You need an attorney to help you in those situations because the legal machinery is complex and it can grind you up. And that's a very bad outcome for you. Again, there are a lot of lawyers, like people like me, people like others who work at the Mid-Missouri Samaritan Center, for example, who do pro bono work, who donate their time and help people who have big problems. And they do it without anybody having to pay them any money. They do it out of the goodness of their heart. Those people exist and they can be found. And they should be the kind of people, they are often, the kind of people who will do an excellent job because they have some pride in what they're doing and they really want to help people. Most lawyers really want to help people. A lot of times people sort of slap lawyers around because it's all about the fee, or people think that it's all about the fee. I can honestly say in the time that I have practiced, I've worked with a lot of lawyers, and it's almost never just about the fee. Often it's a matter of righting a wrong. Almost 20 years ago, I was involved in the Robert Courtney case. Robert Courtney was a pharmacist in Kansas City who diluted chemotherapy. He had 1% chemotherapy and 99% water. Wasn't doing anybody any good, but he was making tons of money on this. And eventually he was caught. And I was part of the civil case that was trying to hold him and the drug companies accountable, because the drug companies had caught on to what he was doing. But because they were selling lots of these drugs, they didn't care. And as a result of that, there were lawsuits and eventually there were settlements. But during that period of time, I interviewed, 30 to 40 people who were losing their battle with cancer. And one of the main reasons they were losing that battle with cancer is because they got diluted chemotherapy. In effect, that man stole their hope. And when I represented those people, it wasn't about the money. What it was about helping people who had been seriously wronged. And that's how our firm approached it. And I've always been very proud of what we were able to accomplish in that case. I would tell you that for the most part, there are some really good lawyers out there who are more than willing to help. You just need to find them. And that's especially true in the civil case, but it's also true in the criminal side. And of course, public defenders are public servants who work under incredible pressure. They don't have a lot of resources, but they also do a fantastic job in criminal cases. You should never go that alone if you are qualified to receive a public defender. So that's my take on when you should ask for help. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them down below. And if you haven't already, go over here and subscribe to our channel so you can be notified anytime we release a video here. Until next time, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you on here then.